Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode from samosachai.net series. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. I'm here today joined by our very own host, Vivek.
Hey
But
Rashmita.
before I hand over the floor, hey, hi, Vivek. How are you?
Yes, we're back. I'm fine. How are
Uh,
you?
I'm doing good. Summer is just hitting, but all
Yeah.
set for summer.
I don't know. It's strange in Bangalore. It's also raining. It's kind of summer. It's kind of raining. No idea.
Yeah, I
Global
know, but
global warming. Huh?
let's let's the summer be cool this time. But yeah, moving on. Let me bring in the code of conduct for you all to read. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat is open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Vivek will try to answer all your questions during the session, so please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. With this, thank you all. Enjoy your session, and over to you, Vivek.
Thank you, Rashmita. So this is part of the series which we are doing, and welcome back to SamosaChai.net show. And today I've just forgotten what is the number of episodes we have done. I think probably this is a season four's last episode, and basically this is a series which we have been running. Like last episode was more around understanding the migrations and why migrations are required and how what are those considerations you need to do. And today we're going to see a couple of things with respect to app surveys and how to host on an app surveys, how to how to use a couple of tools with respect to migrations as well. So before I get started, this is the playlist for our show. Basically, you can take a look at all the previous sessions, the previous episode, and what all we discussed is here. And you can go through this playlist link. And I mean, specifically for this specific series, we have a cloud skill challenge which we have been running, and this is the link for the cloud skill challenge, which we have been running for this specific series. That is the two episodes which we have been doing. So just to give you a background of what is available in the challenge, right? If you go to that link which was shared, that is this particular link, which is aka.ms slash somersetchai.net. If you go there, you will find a couple of people taking this challenge as well. Amazing. There are 40 participants. And also you can take a look at the three different modules which is available as part of the of part of this cloud skill challenge, right? So we did discuss the first module in the last episode, which was specifically from assessing the migrations and what are those things you need to consider, and discussing about what are the different tools which are there and what are the evaluation key metrics you need to consider, and how to make that decision. So a couple of things which we went through is basically not just about having an application and moving towards cloud, but also what are those problems you're going to face, the costing and the re-architecting these services, and how do you manage the downtime of these services as well. So there are a couple of discussions we had with Nish as well. Nish was here, which was the specifically on the on-prem and infrastructure as a service, and what is owned by whom and who owns what, and all those stuff, right? So this is was discussed, and obviously some of the considerations from performance and security related things, and how do you work with scale up and scale down, and specifically how to use security with this Azure Key Vault for storing up secrets and other things. When you move on to the cloud, things change from how exactly you're going to maintain the security, right? So the way you are managing the security on prem or on different cloud, and how do you manage it on different cloud, right? That comes into picture. So there were discussions on network and Azure Active Directory from the security considerations, and we did discuss about pricing and other things. Some of the interesting were pricing tool, how to use the pricing tool, and we did touch upon assistant tool which Azure has, and specifically for Azure App Service. And we did have a discussion around how exactly these apps get being updated and other things. So we did went through these different set of things, and how exactly to evaluate, what are the considerations and costing and security related things, and how to the most important thing is building a CI/CD pipeline as well when you have some applications running. So this was the discussion which we had, and if you want to go back and take a look at the discussion which we had, you can go to this playlist and you can find that particular video. That is one. While and so today we have two more modules to cover, which is hosting an application on Azure App Service, and how would you go about doing a large scale migrations as well, and what are those things which you need to consider. So first up, so we'll just understand how to go about driving, you know specifically going back and driving, hosting a web application with Azure App Service. It's pretty easy. So I'm just going into my um, so I have login. So I'm just going to do a .NET new web app. So basically, I'm creating a new web app in a real world scenario. What would you have is already running .NET app, which is already running on your system, on your Windows, and you might have IIS server as well on top of it, and you're just hosted it and you're just using it. So basically, um, I'm just creating a new web app with .NET, and say like app, let's call it different, uh, wiki maps, something, some app which is there, and we'll take a framework with .NET 6.0, which I have. Um, so let's create this. So basically, I'm creating a new simple ASP.NET web app. All right. So that's the command to do it. Um, so it's just picking a simple template and creating it. And imagine we have this. I am on the, let me open this in the VS Code. Let me bring the VS Code on to this. I hope you can see the VS Code. Oh, this is the app which I have right now, and um, basically what we want to do now is we can run it and see. In fact, we can run this and see what it does. I'm just running it on. Will give some number, right? So I'm just running this particular app which is there on my local system, and in real world you would be running this on any of the servers, and this is how it would be running, right? So that's what a .NET app will be doing, and it requires some permissions. So let me give some permissions to run. Perfect. So now let's go to this app and look at this. So here, so basically this is the app which is running, and let's see. Um, Cool. So this is the local app. So basically, I just created a .NET app, ASP.NET app, which is running, and it's all fine. Now I just want to think from a think from hosting this app on the cloud and how fast you can do it. And by the way, imagine you have taken into all the considerations with respect to migrations. Everything is fine, and you can easily move this now, and you're confident of moving this application to the app service, and you have gone through the migration tool, which we are going to discuss just after this, because I just want to show you how to host an app on Azure App Service. But after this, we'll be going in depth with how this migration app will be taken to the next step, right? So how exactly you can do it with Azure App Service, right? So let's go here. So this is local. So I don't want to run it local. I just want to make sure that this app is running on the cloud. So I will just run web app command up and SKU. This is the the SKUs are nothing but basically it is the pricing, and also what is your compute you are opting for to run this particular application. So to know more about it, you can go through the Azure App Service pricing plan and see what exactly these SKUs are. And we will name this app as what, wiki map, and we will say OS type. You can run it on any of the different OSs. Um, it could be Linux or Windows. We can run it on Linux. Let's run it on Windows. Okay, so okay, so you have an application. We wanted to push it to the cloud, and I've just selected SKU and a name, and provided the web app up. That's the command which I have shared. And you can see that basically this application will be deployed to cloud just through one command. So even before you do all these steps, even before pushing all of these code to the cloud, there are certain steps you need to do when you are thinking about migrations. In the first part of this series, we did discuss about all the considerations, the performance, the security, the pricing. We went through the how the CI/CD to be done, network considerations, and the other considerations which you need to do, from how do you connect, and Azure Active Directory, who has access, and all those things. So you need to think of all of those aspects, and then you are actually coming and doing this, right? So that part as well, we do have a tool which will help you to understand how exactly this particular thing works. And we will just go through that just after this deployment. Once this deployment is done, we will understand how to use the tool, and how you can see a couple of things it would provide as part of the information, um, how things really work in terms of migrations, right? So let's wait for this application to come back online. So when it comes online, we will go through that link, and we will take a look at it. But let me go back here and show you what are the considerations you need to do. So if you go to this particular module, basically how do you migrate on-prem, there are a couple of tools which is there. And specifically for services which are hosted on IIS service, which is Internet Information Service of Windows, to the how you can actually assess, and not just about assessing, and after the assessment, after the readiness, you can also migrate. And that is what is being done in this particular module. And if you go to the exercise, and obviously there is a sandbox which is not available for me, but if you go back and try it out for yourself and see that, you'll get a sandbox available for you. And you can run these things, and it goes into migrations. I know it goes back and gives you a tool called Azure App Service Migration Assistant, and you can actually take a look at that and see what all it provides in terms of it provides a couple of things, and it is supported for PHP, Java, and .NET actually, and those are the areas where it is supported. And once you do this assessment, you will know how much of rework you need to do to deploy your application to the cloud, or move application to Azure App Service, or it is all ready, and it has gone through the readiness check, and it is ready to be deployed. So that is what that tool provides you with, and couple of things it does provide with all of these assistant. So for example, if I have to show you, um, uh, 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 this is the um, public tool. Migrate. Let's see if we can do samosa chai.net. Let's go here and run this. Right? So we do have samosachai.net website actually, and basically you can find a couple of things like playlist and other things. This is a static web app. If you use a static web app with if you can build this static web app with functions, you can actually pull in all the events which is happening for samosachai.net onto the website. So basically this is what the website we have. So you can actually, this is already hosted on Azure App Service, so nothing new we are going to pick from the from the assessment perspective. So if you go to the assessment here, now you go and assess. There is this is a just a online access online assessment, but you can also assess in a different way. I'll just show you that. But if you just hit on this, it will tell your site trend framework is, it's ready for migration, fully supported, and download the assistant tool to follow the steps and do the migrations. So basically it did go through my endpoint, and it did provided me what all things it is built with. It is built with Blazor app. It is already hosted on app service. That is what it is telling. And it is telling me the hosting and CDNs, and lot of details with respect to certificates, and it will also tell me some of the things which are required from the dependency perspective. To know from a dependency perspective, there are couple of things, like you need to download app service migrations, which is download app, and documentations which is there. There are a couple of things which you can do with for Java, and there is things for Java, and you can use .NET with the PowerShell scripting as well. So you need to download this, and once you run this, in fact, if I have to show you the where is that? So this is basically the assessment tool. um, I don't, I mean, I'm not able to open the I am not able to RDP into my Windows server because of I'm using StreamYard, and a lot of network here, so I'm not able to RDP into that. But I'm going to show you the tool here. So basically the tool is also very similar to the one which I showed you right now, right? This assessment tool, which is basically assessing couple of things. So we can assess any public service as well. For example, I do have my I can say wikibytes.com. It's basically my website. So it's on, it's again on uh, GitHub pages. So you can see it is also uh, it is also hosted, and it has load balancer and what it is doing, which web server. I've been using this framework, and it has references to Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and other things, and bunch of other things, where exactly these things are happening, right? So all of these things, it shows me the assessment kind of a thing about the domain which I've shared. But this one is pretty interesting. So when you go to this and um, download this particular tool onto your Windows box, and you go and take a look at this one. So it's basically, once you run the readiness check, so what happens is, basically, you have an application which is running. You have a bunch of applications which is running as well, and you would go and run default readiness check on your application, and you can see there are bunch of things it will show up on the assessment report. And once this is ready and you don't have much errors, you don't have much warnings, you can probably disable some a couple of warnings and other things. You can go back and provide next, and you will be able to connect to your Azure account through your subscriptions and other things. You can able to set it up and then just migrate. So basically, you can migrate your application once it is ready through just this tool. So if you have bunch of services, if you have bunch of open endpoints, bulk ones as well, you can go back here and start migrations and see the report and what are the dependencies and other things that you can obviously see through Azure migration service as well. This is this is basically you're installing on the server where you have the application running. But if you are and to going to deploy this through this tool, you can easily go back and deploy it. So I'm just taking a look at the one which we had run. So previously what we had was one simple app which was running on local, and I'm just deploying it uh, to the cloud app service, which is Azure App Service. It's basically, it's pretty easy. I just ran one command, and it just deployed an application there, right? So hopefully it will show up. Yeah. So this is how it is, right? So it is basically running on the wikimap.azurewebsites.net, right? So it is a simple command which I ran. So this is the command on Windows. You make any changes, you really go back and update, and goes back and update it. So that's the easiest way to deploy this. But I'll show you one more interesting one which we are discussing now, is this one. But apart from this, there are a couple of things which you can do, which is Azure migration, right? Service which is there. So let's go back and I'll show you Azure um, Migrate service which we have. So basically, these are the things it supports. It basically discovers your application, and it provides assessment with respect to SQL servers, whether it is ready to uh, ready for the migration. It basically also uses containerize your .NET and other things and deploy to Azure Kubernetes service. It helps you with that, and rest of the other things which it can do, bunch of things. So if you explore this, right, so basically if you go in depth, so there is web app support, there is data box. This is again used for bringing in large set of data. There's Azure storage mover, that is something which you can do. And app consideration, so this is also containerization and use of that. So bunch of other big data migrations it can help you with. And web app is where we are looking at, right? So when you do that assessment, and if you look at this, you can either do the assessment or migrate as well. So for both of these things, you can download the tools and run these tools. For both the things, there is tools for that. then this is migration migrate using app service assistant, or this is assess. So both of them are different tools which you can download and maybe use of those tools to migrate. um, but there are other ways as well nowadays. There is um, you are actually going and containerizing the applications, right? So when you're containerizing applications, what happens is uh, you want to deploy containerized application. So that is also possible from a migration assistant. So they have provided a script. Basically, there is a script which you can use to deploy a containerized application. So if you have a containerized application deployed to uh, Azure Container Registry, or push it to Azure Container Registry, and then and basically you are just creating um, pushing it and then creating some images, and then you're just creating that application there. So ultimately this is how you can deploy as well, like just keep creating those images and uh, push it to the uh, container registry, so that you can actually look into that. So bunch of things assessment tool provides you with. One of the thing which it provides you with is the readiness check. So that is from a port perspective, from a protocol perspective. It checks with the certificates, it checks with the access, and it checks with the how this works in terms of the dependencies are available on the system. So if I have to show you how exactly that works, Azure Migrate. So let me show you. Last time we did discuss this, but I'll no, not this one. Sorry. Hmm. So if I have to show you that, where did it go? Yeah. So if I have to show you Azure Migrate, um, so basically it's all about discover, assess, migrate, and modernize. So this is how the whole migration process works, right? So you have legacy code, you have code which is there on the system, you have code which is available, and you are basically discovering it, and you are assessing it, and then you're migrating and you're modernizing. So assessing is where it provides you with the details with respect to whether it is ready for migrations, apart from all of your other considerations, which is like the performance, your security planning, your cost planning, which we discussed in the last episode. Once you have those considerations done, and then our tool is also providing you with an assessment. And once you go through that assessment which I just showed you, and also local assessment downloaded application which you can run, and then you are ready to migrate, and you just click on few buttons and it gets migrated. Or you can use similar fashion, right, where I have the app on my system and I'm just using a simple command to just deploy the application to the cloud. And that is where um, that is where migration comes into picture. And you can migrate in various ways, right? Even you can migrate it via containerized application. If you have containerized application, it's pretty easy. You take that images and put it onto the container registry. And for this specific thing, where you have just the code, you are just running few command after all the assessment done. So basically I'm stressing on that because in migrations you need to keep that assessment in all fashion. You should do all, with consideration with everything else as well, right? So that is one. And then you are doing a modernization. So we did discuss about this in the last episode as well, like how do you modernize it, basically using all the latest technologies with respect to Azure Key Vaults, and for security, and using Azure Active Directory as well. So there are a bunch of tools which we have used, right? So that is what it provides. And if you see this, it provides it for database, it provides it for various other scenarios which it has, from a various set of entities. And you can see, it can discover bulk number of things, right? You can add this assessment onto all the servers which you have. Now there is agentless, so you don't have to add these agents, so you can run it on a bulk of things. So when you run it, with respect to with all of the services which you have, with the endpoints which you have, and it would provide you with this kind of discovery and also dependencies and all the things. So if you see here, there is a dependency analysis. There's a dependency analysis, and it does provide how many servers. This is obviously at a large scale. This is obviously, you can see this. I can do this with large scale and different set of services. Different, if you see this, this is a SQL server with a lot of servers there, and a lot of SQL instances which is running. So this is basically how enterprises also look into when they are migrating, right? So this is what being considered for migrations. So if you go to this collection, so there are a couple of things is part of the cloud skill challenge. So if you go to this cloud skill challenge, um, you have a bunch of learning to be done. So basically, one was what are those considerations in the migrations, what all things you need to consider. And the second part was how, hosting a web application. That's what we did. And the third one is basically how do you use the migration. So I'm not getting the sandbox, so you might get a sandbox for yourself, so you can take a look at it. uh, um, so uh, this is what pretty much I had. So I have a couple of questions. I'll just take those questions as well. So one question from Tokir is basically, okay. Hey Vivek, are you using Azure CLI? Yes, Tokir, I'm using Azure CLI. And you can also go back and take a look at this link as well, so that you can play around with Azure CLI as well, because the hosting of this application is done through CLI, not through portal, right? So it's pretty easy. So that's one. And I have a question, um, for more to migrate from one cloud to another cloud, quite possible. um, so there is a question from Luke. Is running it when I'm looking for more how to migrate from cloud to another cloud, quite possible. So I'm in general interested in what it takes to migrate to MS, although I'm yet not sure where to migrate, but I'm looking for something which has less vendor lock-in. So basically, see, there are various ways you can think about migration. The best possible way, at least from today's perspective, look, what I'm looking at is, if you have an application, if it is containerized, if it is a containerized application, very less chances of getting into vendor lock-in. You can basically take this containerized application and host this images on any of the available container registries of everybody, every other cloud providers. And and probably use those images in application code and deploy it however you want to deploy it on different cloud. So there is no lock in there. And also you should also look into a lot of other things as well, like how much of PaaS layer you want to go for, or infrastructure as a service layer. So you can go for any of these things, right? So basically, if you go to this particular module which I was just talking about, it does explain about what is the role of, just give me a minute, let me open this. So here, if you go to the introduction, it does talk about, sorry, not the introduction, the next part. It does talk about what is the role of different set of things which we have, right? So options we have, whether it is on prem you want to do, or whether it is infrastructure as a service is your option, or platform as a service is your option, or software as a service is your option. So it's not going to be software as a service because you're just deploying your application, right? Either it is into the cloud if you are doing it infrastructure as a service, or a platform as a service. And managed by vendor and managed by customer, that's clearly stated here. So based on your requirement, based on your how you want to deploy it, from a performance perspective, from a security perspective, from a different perspectives, how you want to deploy is what you can take a look at from. But I would suggest you to have an application which is containerized. Then there is very less chances of lock-in, because you could use this containerized application in Azure App Service. You could use it as Azure Functions. You could go for a consumption plan. You can go and deploy it as part of the container apps which we have. You can also deploy it as part of the Azure Kubernetes service which we have, or just the container instance. So basically, there are a bunch of options which you have to deploy this without having a vendor lock-in as well. So that is something which you need to consider there. So any other questions from the audience? Just let me know. I basically I wanted to show the assessment, but I'm not able to log into my server because of all the set of things uh, which we are running, like this StreamYard and other things. So my network is getting pulled into that. Sure, look, I mean, if you have any specific questions as well, you can chat with me on the LinkedIn, and we can obviously get connected, and we can have a deeper discussion on various things. Anything specifically, I mean, even if you are looking at static web app, we do have static web apps. By the way, I did show you samosachai.net website, right? This one specific website is hosted on static web app. Everything is static, and it is hosted on static web app. And if you can see here, you can see here static web app with Blazor app, and then just we are redirecting it to the domain. So it's all hosted on simply hosted on Azure Static Web Apps. So if you have a lot of static assets hosted on static web app, it makes sense because it does provide a worldwide distributed service as well, like peer-to-peer and CDN, where if a user is accessing from Singapore versus user accessing from US, they're able to access it much faster because of the syncing we have for these static assets across globally, right? And so you can make use of that kind of a feature as well. So that's something which is also a couple of things are free. You should be able to try it out and see as well. But if you have any specific things to discuss, do reach out to me on LinkedIn, and and we can obviously get connected and probably have that one-to-one discussion on what are the things which you have, and probably help you with a couple of content for you. Do we have any specific questions from the audience? um, Cool. So for audience, for people who have joined late, probably this is the right link for you. This, take this link, go back and try all those three modules which I have shared, and probably if you go through that three modules, you will get a lot of information around how exactly you need to do a migration, and from a consideration perspective as well, to how exactly do it. And so a couple of tools which we have, and probably how to use those tools as well. You can go back and try those tools as well, and install those tools, and probably see how exactly you need to drive these things. But apart from that, today's samosa chai.net was pretty fast, and we had very less content as well, because I am not able to show you the real time um, real time assessment and migration, because of my Windows boxes not coming up. But we can obviously go through that module, and you can try it out on yourself, and probably you can give us a lot of feedback on the product as well. So that's something which I just wanted to share. And um, so there is a good question. The question is basically, while migrating, any major challenges? There are a bunch of challenges. I know that is what is being discussed in one of the first module in the collection. This one, basically, it could be re-architecting your application, cost for migrations, what is the cost for it, and how much, will there be a downtime for your application experience? Will there be a downtime? There could be a downtime, right? And there are a bunch of other things. Basically, you might be going back and taking a look at the security ones, and the performance, and how different it is from a network perspective. All of those things need to be taken care. Major challenges will be around performance and security, and the next challenge will be around whether you need to re-architect the application to drive these migrations, either from different cloud or from on-prem. What is the re-architecture you need to do? That is where these assessment tools, that is where the tool which I just showed you, specifically this one, will provide you with a lot of information in terms of whether it is ready for migrations to, specifically for Azure App Service, whether it is ready for doing it. If you are not ready to do it, what you need to do is basically go back and set up a VM, virtual box, and make sure that all of those applications is being deployed onto those virtual box. And that is where you need to drive these things, and put yourself in the shoe where your deployed application on the virtual box, and you're actually taking that, and seeing what are those challenges you might get further, right? But that is a process as well. So I can still wait for 5 more minutes, and if you have more questions, just share it across. Happy to answer all those questions as well. Cool. I don't see much questions coming in, so thank you all for joining in. And we have an amazing episode coming up on code spaces. Next up, if you are a .NET developer, how to use code spaces is what we are going to discuss in our next episode, which is going to be pretty interesting. um, thank you for joining in, and please go through this learn modules as part of the cloud skill challenge. It will help you to understand not just the theory part of it, but also there is a couple of examples out there where which you can go back and try it out from through this cloud skill challenge. So that's what being added into this cloud skill challenge as part of the learn modules. Perfect. So thank you for joining in, and we will see you again in our next episode. Thank you, Rashmita.